Heyo. Welcome back to Buzz Pucks.
Heyo.
I'm Bert.
I'm Clay.
And we're back at the same puck time.
Same puck place.
And steal your thunder this time.
Not this time.
And we're back with more division previews. As with the previous episodes, we're going through each division one by one so that we don't bombard you with like a million-hour episodes like we did last year.
Took some time to sober up between the Central and the
we ate some pizza. Just to remind you guys, we're recording these all on the same day, so we were a little drunk towards the end of the Central episode, so we had to take about an hour break there to sober up, eat some pizza, and feel better about what we were doing.
I was getting sloppy.
So was I towards the end.
Oh man, that was bad.
But we're back and more sober, and in this episode, we're covering the Atlantic Division. But before we get to that, Clay, what are we drinking?
We are drinking out of Counterweight Brewing Company, their Workhorse. It's a Pilsner. It's 5%. And where are they from? Cheshire, Connecticut.
Cheshire. The Cheshire Cat has all the answers, but
Yes,
he will never tell.
Nope, never, not once.
Shout out to Kingdom Hearts fans out there. That's from Kingdom Hearts. He says that, Kingdom Hearts.
I feel like he said it in Alice in Wonderland.
He might.
Yeah.
I know it from Kingdom Hearts.
I didn't watch or play either, so.
He should. They're really weird games. Anyway, who are we starting with, Clay?
We started with...
before that.
Oh, yeah. Let's just get cracking.
We might get into a second beer, maybe. What's the second beer we maybe
The second beer on the line is Hoax Brewery. Their Carrier of the Dead IPA.
Yes.
Which looks dope.
It is a really cool...
double-headed raven that I don't
Sitting
see.
On a skull.
6.5%. Hoax Brewery. Where are you from? East Haven, Connecticut.
East Haven. You guys will never guess what state we're in.
I don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. All right. Now, how is this Workhorse?
It's all right. It's just kind of a typical beer.
Yeah, but it's a solid.
It's solid. No, it's solid.
Super
It's solid.
It's a good workhorse.
Yeah.
Of a brewery.
Workhorse.
There
I
we
like
are.
the name. There we are. Yeah. Who we starting with?
Boston.
Clay Bean. Oh, sick. The first team I had pulled up.
The Beans.
Reading your mind.
Clay Beans. Baked Beans. Boston.
Clay Beans. Baked Beans. Boston Baked Beans.
All right. So.
You remember last year when I was like, have you ever had Boston Baked Beans?
Broke my brain? Yeah.
And stuff you did in your tracks. All right, Boston.
Boston hasn't done much of anything during their free agent signings.
They don't really have much cap space.
Before our break, they had only signed A.J. Greer to a 2-year contract.
Right.
But since then, they have brought back their champions. Patrice Bergeron.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Came back from 1 year,
2.5.
$2.5 million, as an absolute steal. His entire career has been a steal.
Oh, yeah. His entire career contract is a steal and a half for him. Yeah. But he's 37. There was a lot of question.
I don't know how Boston keeps getting hometown discounts.
I don't know. I think they're just lucky Patrice Bergeron just really likes the Boston Bruins, I guess.
Well, David Krejci came back too.
David Krejci did come back.
1 year, $1 million.
Here's the thing. I agree that these are discounts for these guys, but both of them are 36 and 37 respectively. Bergeron certainly can still play in the league. Krejci spent all of last year, I believe, in Europe.
In Europe. He did play the entire...
He did play.
European
I'm not saying
season.
that he's going to be bad by no means, but I don't know. They're getting up there in age, so...
Agreed, but Bergeron did just win a Selke.
Yeah, his fifth of his career or something insane like that.
It should be named the Bergeron after this.
Honestly, yeah, he's won it so much. He's a Hall of Fame player, certainly.
Yeah. Also, Pavel Zacha has signed an extension because they got him in a trade with the Devils
for just straight up Howla, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
1 year, 3.5.
Yep.
So that's it. That's all they've done.
That's all they've done. They're pretty much bringing back the same team they ended last year with, just Pavel Zacha instead of Eric Howla.
Problem is, I don't know if they make the playoffs.
That'll be hard. They have a lot of injuries.
Their top 4 of their blue line are injured for a good chunk. Yep. Brad Marchand is out for the first half of the season at least.
At least, yeah.
And
well, they have Lindholm listed as healthy, but we'll see. He's coming off of a pretty significant injury towards the end of the year.
Head injury during the playoffs.
But they're missing McAvoy and Marchand and Matt Grzelcyk to begin the year at least.
That is huge.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's huge. Now, if they can keep their head above water while those injuries are out.
Those guys are out until probably January at the least. So that's going to be rough.
Couple were hip surgeries, and I think one was a shoulder surgery.
That's going to be rough. Even with Pasternak and Bergeron. That's hard.
Those are hard to come back from.
That's one of your star forwards and your absolute star defenseman.
And, it's going to be hard for them to come back and hit the ground running.
Yeah.
So they'll probably be trying to shake off rust when they do come back. So they really need to tread water. If they're in the middle of the division,
there's a chance.
When they come back,
there's a chance.
They might be able to make a push. I don't know.
It's going to be rough, though, because some of the other teams in the Atlantic are better.
The entire East went full arms race.
Hate the East.
And Atlantic,
to say the least, they went arms race.
Yeah, the Atlantic and the Metro both improved. Almost everybody, even the fringe teams, improved to maybe not make the playoffs, but maybe make a push /
not every team.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
Not every team. But
Philly doesn't count. But like Buffalo, your Ottawa, your Montreal, not as much, but they'll be annoying.
They'll be annoying, certainly. But Buffalo, Detroit, Ottawa have certainly gotten better. On top of teams like Columbus and in the Metro.
Carolina's staying good.
Carolina, Pittsburgh, Washington, they're not going to be pushovers. No. Rangers, too.
Washington might have gotten better, which
Pittsburgh may have gotten better as well.
Right.
Their defense may have at least gotten better.
Washington was the one, if we were looking at all of the playoff teams, so you had 4 and 4, I would look at Boston, Washington, and Pittsburgh to be the first ones out.
Yeah. But Washington semi-fixed their goalie issue. Pittsburgh rearranged defensemen. They have a whole new look defensive team coming in. But Boston, on the other hand, didn't do too much. They can't
because
do too
they
much.
couldn't.
Yeah, they can't.
It's a.
I mean, your big ad is Zacha. Yeah.
And maybe he can turn a corner.
Maybe
because
he's only 25.
The Devils were expecting more out of him, which is why there was that trade.
Yeah.
But if he maybe in this new location he can turn a quarter and help.
Maybe.
But right now I don't like the way Boston looks as a team going forward.
They're old. They're super old at this point. And saying that as a fan of the team who has the oldest roster in the Penguins, Boston's not that far behind.
No.
In the age category, so
and bringing back Krejci did not help.
No, and missing one of your top forwards in Marchand and your top defenseman in McAvoy,
which I didn't realize Marchand was as old as he is.
He's 34.
Yeah. I mean, I knew he was on the quote unquote wrong side of 30.
Right. But still,
35 is different than
than 30.
Yeah. So that's Boston.
We'll see.
I hate them, so I'm fine with them falling out.
Yeah, somebody's got to start falling out eventually. It's got to be somebody eventually. But who it is really hard to pin down. But Boston seems like the most likely.
Based on how the season ended last year, I was going to say Washington's the first one out.
Yeah.
Now I kind of think it's Boston.
Just based
on
the offseason,
just because
the injuries. Yeah, we'll see.
Injuries before the
they got an uphill battle, certainly, in Boston.
If any team can do it, it's Boston.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But
who's next?
I'm rooting against them. Montreal.
Montreal.
So, Montreal did a little bit while we were gone. I believe the Petrie trade happened.
That happened right before. That happened during the last episode.
Okay.
Yeah, we already talked about that.
Since then, they signed Kirby Dach, which we mentioned in a previous episode. 4 years, $3.36 million.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all. No. Someone who could make a step up and do a lot better.
Only 21 years old.
Yep. So he put up 26 points, which isn't great for what you want.
He was on an insanely bad team in Chicago, though, and he did not play well.
If he makes some steps up defensively,
sure,
26 points is, again, a little low, but much more,
it
agreeable.
It can be waved away if he's better defensively. Be like, yeah, well, he's really good on the power play.
And then they also had Caden Primo as an extension. 3 years, $0.9 million. I don't really know where he lines up. He's probably your starter.
Third goalie?
He's probably your starter in the AHL.
Probably, yeah.
Which is fair. He's 22. He does need some time to develop further.
Yeah, he's still young.
And every time he...
Oh, there he is.
Every time he came up and had to play because of their vast goalie injuries last year, he got shelled. 12 games played, 4.62 goals against average, and an 8.68, which is not good.
I think it's better to have him play some in the minors and get his confidence up. I mean, you have Allen and Montembeault. You don't need to force him.
He needs that because, again, there was a week or at least a 2-week span where he got pulled every start.
Yeah, he's bad.
There was some times where
Montreal was just so bad last year.
There was a time or two where he got pulled from Montembeault getting pulled. They put Montembeault back.
That's rough.
Yeah,
that's rough.
So it was just that time before St. Louis came in was just god awful for.
That's
Montreal.
right. They really turned it around once St. Louis took it.
Especially some of the young guys like Caulfield and Suzuki stepped up. Montreal, I don't think, is going to be good.
No way.
But
I think they'll be better than they were for like the first half of the year last year.
Yeah.
I doubt they'll make the playoff. I doubt they'll even be close to the playoffs. But
they're your bottom of the division team.
Probably. They might be annoying. They might be annoying to play against.
They're gonna be annoying.
Yeah.
Especially with like
Caulfield and Suzuki, and they have Huhar Slavkovsky too, who's not even listed in this depth chart we're looking at. Shout out Cap Friendly. He, I bet, will play on Montreal.
But I don't know if Allen's still hurt, so Montembeault could be the starter, and Primo is your backup.
Right, and their defense isn't much
great
to look at. They got Mike Matheson, but that's
Joel Edmondson, David Savard.
Not great. Yeah.
But like those guys,
Chris Weidman.
Those guys can teach some younger defensemen who are coming up.
True.
But overall, I don't see them being a very good team.
No.
It's your rebuild time, and unfortunately, Carey Price, it seems like he's done.
Yeah, done.
That knee injury
done
is
for good. Yeah.
Seems like
he tried last year. He tried to come back last year.
It doesn't seem like it
didn't work.
And this isn't his mental health issues. Him taking a step.
I mean, he's going to the Hall of Fame.
This is strictly like physically able to perform.
Absolutely. I mean, look, Price sucks. Never won a cup. Almost won a cup, but didn't.
Plenty of great goalies have never won a cup.
That's true. I would imagine he'll go to the Hall of Fame, get his number retired, all that jazz. I mean, he was very, very good throughout his career. And if this is it for Carey Price, Godspeed into the sunset.
Yep, 100%.
Is that it for Montreal?
It's honestly it for Montreal.
Alrighty. Who's next?
We're moving fast here, talking about Toronto.
We can talk about Toronto.
We can talk about Toronto for a little bit.
Oh, I can talk about Toronto.
Since the off-season, or our break, they've done nothing.
Oh, not since mid-July?
Not a single thing.
They don't have cap space.
They don't.
Thank you, John Tavares.
I think if you look...
I have 76 points, and I make $11 million.
It gets to the point where listen to our season recaps to know how we feel about Toronto. They could be great.
Yeah, I mean, they're still a very good team.
They're going to the playoffs.
John Tavares is not a bad player, and you guys have heard us complain about Tavares before. He's just not $11 million good.
No, if that was a $9 million, fine,
yeah,
whatever.
Fine. Yeah, that's fine. I wouldn't even complain if it was 9 or 8.5 or something like that. But I'd be like, yeah, all right, that's fine. But
their goalies have changed from Jack Campbell to Shalgren to Matt Murray.
And Peter Mrazek.
Good for them for getting rid of Mrazek. That's impressive.
Hey, but they took on Matt Murray.
Matt Murray and Ilya Samsonov.
I mean, I love Matt Murray because of the 2 cup wins in Pittsburgh. I hope he rebounds in Toronto. I mean, it's closer to his hometown, but like
they both.
I don't know. They're really betting a lot on very questionable goaltending.
Both goalies are streaky. Both have flashes of absolute brilliance.
Sure,
but they cannot be. They have not been sustained. Both because of injuries.
All right.
Matt Murray just pretty consistently gets injured.
Yeah. Sucks.
Samsonov since that back injury a couple of years ago.
On the ATV.
On
right?
the ATV. Yeah. So not even playing hockey. But they are a very good offensive team.
Absolutely.
Their
defense is okay.
Solid to okay.
Solid to okay. And goalies, question.
That's the question.
Big question.
If their goalies stand on their head, they can win the cup.
Sure.
If they play anyone but Tampa Bay, the first round of this past playoff.
Or Boston. Yeah, they took Tampa Bay to 7.
They might have run to the finals.
Maybe. It was close.
They beat.
Certainly close.
I say if they beat Tampa Bay, they definitely beat Florida. And then who did Tampa Bay play in the finals?
The Rangers.
That's
a toss-up.
That's a toss-up
between these 2 teams.
So,
but yeah, I think they could achieve. Those goalies are.
They can definitely win the cup with this team.
Those goalies are.
And
hard, but Matt Murray has won 2 cups in his career,
and it's this cup. It's cup or bust for this team.
Yeah, I think if they go out again in the first round, I think heads are gonna roll on this team. Not the players so much, but like upper management. Dubas, their GM. Who's their coach?
Oh, I can't. I see his face. I see his stupid face.
All right, hold on. I'm clicking on it. It is Sheldon Keefe. Yeah, Sheldon Keefe and Dubas. If they lose out again in the first round, I think Keefe and Dubas are gone.
Well, Keefe won't get fired unless Dubas goes. So
yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, if Dubas goes, Keefe is going to go too.
Yep.
And I don't even think they've really done that bad of a job. It's just they just can't get over that hump in the first round.
The standards are so high, which they kind of have to be.
You know what, Clay? As a great coach has said many times, the standard is the standard.
I don't know which coach.
That's Mike Tomlin.
Okay.
Head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I hate you.
Who's next? So come on, Toronto. At least win 1 round.
Cup or bust. Yeah.
At least get a playoff win. I think much like Washington in years past, much like Washington who couldn't get past the second round. I think if Toronto gets that first round win, I don't think there's any stopping them. I think that momentum will carry them.
I think that momentum will carry them definitely past the second round. When you get to finals, it's different.
It's a toss-up at that point. But that's just the feeling I get. Much like when Washington beat Pittsburgh in the second round, they rode that high to the Cup final, to the win. I think if Toronto could beat Boston or Tampa Bay,
same when the Blues beat Chicago.
True. I think if Toronto can get that first round, I think they could ride that high until at least the Cup final.
Yeah.
And then who knows? It depends on who they run into.
Right.
At that point.
Because Washington thankfully ran into Vegas.
True. Who in retrospect maybe had no no business being in the Cup final that year. All right, who's next?
Tampa
Bay. Coming off their third straight Cup final appearance, 2 for 3.
Since their break, not their break, our break.
Yeah.
Philippe Myers, the defender, 1 year, 1.4.
Yeah, they re-signed him.
That's it. They've lost a couple of key pieces.
Oh, that was an extension, not even a re-sign.
Right.
Yeah.
It was an extension because they got him in a trade from Nashville.
They did, but he's listed here at 2.55 cap hit, and then UFA till 2024.
Yep.
So they re-signed him for an extra year.
Yes. So they kept it basically the same. They have lost a couple of key pieces like Mikheyev. Then next year,
Palat too,
and Palat, who went to Carolina.
Excuse me.
Or Detroit.
He went to New Jersey.
I knew he went to somewhere red.
Somewhere red.
Somewhere red. But next year, some extensions kick in.
Oh, right. Yes. They have many extensions.
So we'll see. Like, they're doing a very good job of cap management.
I agree. I think we mentioned this in a previous episode, but Tampa Bay especially is absolutely betting on that cap jumping up high.
Yes.
In the next few years, they signed some extensions that if the Cup does jump like maybe $10 million in 2024, these extensions will look like nothing essentially.
Right.
You know, they'll be like, oh, these are genius extensions.
If it doesn't,
if it does do that. If it doesn't, then well,
you're in a little trouble.
They have 2 cups, so
right, and
whatever.
They're still gonna push for another.
They're
cup.
gonna make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, it's a playoffs guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Again,
still got Vasilevsky, still got Stamkos and Kucherov and Point.
Stamkos is coming off a 100-point season.
Yes, he is. He had a great season last year.
He finished strong. I think he had 80-some points with 85 points with 10 games left.
He crushed it. Ended up with 106.
But a lot of these guys have the experience. Yeah. They have cups. They know what to do. Mm-hmm. Tampa Bay is a well-run team.
Tampa Bay is one of those teams you never count them out.
No.
Not at this point, anyway.
Nope.
You could be like, oh, maybe they'll take a step back. They probably won't.
No.
Yeah.
Not with this team.
Nope. Who's next?
Florida.
Florida.
Now,
what an enigma of a team this is.
I think they're going to be the same. They're not. They're not President's Trophy winners.
I don't think so. I think they overachieved a little bit last year.
Well, no, they lost some offensive pieces.
True.
But now they have an actual coach.
Who is their coach?
Maurice.
Oh, that's right, Paul Maurice. He has led teams to the playoffs and even deep playoff runs.
Yes.
In Winnipeg.
So I think since our break, they have not done anything besides get to Chuck and a 4th-round pick.
Right.
Now they got a little bit worse defensively, getting rid of Uyghur.
Yeah, losing Uyghur in that trade for Tkachuk.
Now Uyghur in the playoffs made some really bonehead plays that hurt them.
Who didn't
defensively?
Team, honestly.
Well, Florida's a team that, I personally think if Wilson doesn't tear his ACL, Washington wins.
Yeah.
That series was more of Washington beating themselves than.
There was a bunch of that last year. You could say Washington should have beat Florida. Pittsburgh should have beat New York.
Mm-hmm.
Just those teams, for injuries or whatever reason, just blew those series.
But
Tampa Bay theoretically should have lost to Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto had all the momentum in that series.
Florida did have their offensive brilliance, flashes of their regular season offensive brilliance, which
certainly
put them ahead of Washington. But then they got blown out in the second round. Now, a lot of the rumors for that were Sam Bennett was basically letting them do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
And didn't really have a plan when things got hard. So now that Maurice is there, that's not going to be the case.
Right.
Now with more discipline, this theoretically weaker team than last year could still make a very deep push.
Certainly. Oh, yeah, they could. I think they're still going to be good. They're still certainly a playoff team.
Barkov is Barkov.
Barkov is Barkov. Now, instead of Huberto, he has Kachuk, but he still has Sam Reinhart on that line with him, too.
Mm-hmm.
They still got Verhaeghe and Bennett. Hornquist is old, but still there.
Liddell is...
Asa Liddell, yeah. Anton Liddell.
Doing very well. And now he's just a year older, but
Yeah.
he has more experience.
Their defense should still be fairly strong. A little less strong than last year, obviously, like you said, losing Uyghur, but their goaltending is still Bobrovsky and Knight. I think that could still come to bite them in the end, but
I do think Bobrovsky's overpaid, but he is still...
Certainly. He played pretty well last year, honestly.
In the playoffs...
he wasn't the issue.
Losing to Tampa,
Yeah.
he was not the problem.
He wasn't the issue, no.
Knight has played very well when he has come in.
Sure.
So Bobrovsky plays like he did to earn that contract, and I think Florida has a chance to win a cup.
It's just, yeah.
So we've just talked about 4 teams out of 5 who
made the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playoff aspirations.
Yeah, it's hard to say that Florida would not make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
I think they will. I think they'll be top 3 in that division again with Toronto and Tampa Bay.
I think
I had to guess.
I think Maurice being their head coach.
I think Maurice will make a big difference.
A very big difference.
So yeah, that's Florida.
We're flying through the Atlantic.
Yeah, we're skipping through.
All right.
Who next?
Who is next is Detroit.
Detroit. This team did a lot
Wings.
in the offseason.
Did a lot. So since our break, they brought in Robert Hagg, Jake Wallman, and Philippe Zadina.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's more than some other teams, certainly.
Hagg, 1 year, $0.8 million. Wallman, 1 year, $1.05. Zadina, 3 years, $1.825. Now, Zadina, I believe, has had the longest tenure for a while on this Detroit team.
Oh, yes, yeah. He's been there a while. He's kind of a bust. He was 6th overall draft pick.
But remember, when we went over the offseason, they only had one player signed more than 2 years.
Oh, you're right.
It was Zadina.
Yeah, you're right. Let's look. Right now it's Andrew Kopp.
Now it's
the
Andrew
longest signed.
Kopp is the longest.
And they signed Ben Sherratt too.
Yzerman has given out at 5 years.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone else has 2 to 3 year contracts.
Yep.
Him and Sherratt are the longest ones.
So, Sherratt was only given a 4-year though.
Yeah.
But they're working on a contract with Larkin apparently.
I hope so.
But they have some time to work that out.
They have until next offseason to work that out.
They've made some moves to.
They're a much beefier team.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have good depth. I wouldn't say they have like crazy offensive power.
They don't make a deep playoff push at all.
I think they could challenge for a playoff spot though.
They could challenge it because they improved their goalie with Billy Huso. And Nedeljkovic is, still there. He did get blown up a lot, but that was more defense letting him down than him failing as a goalie.
Yeah.
Greece also had very bad games in net. So getting like Olimata, Sherratt.
I mean, these aren't like star defensemen.
No, but they're solid defensemen.
They're fine defensemen.
But you got Cedar, who is going to only improve.
Theoretically.
Hopefully.
I mean, he just won.
The rookie.
The rookie of the year.
And then I would like to see Lucas Raymond step up because he did all right.
He's only 20. He had 23 goals at 20 years old. So.
Yes, he was in the running for the Calder for a while, and then
and
everyone
Cedar
else
was just like, oh, Cedar is just so good.
Well, he got Raymond got lost behind Zegras and Bunting and Lundell. I'd like to see Detroit would probably like to see him take another step forward.
Certainly,
because he did very well in his rookie year, but like another step forward would be great. They brought in Andrew Kopp. They brought in David Perron. They've made
their depth is certainly stronger than it was last year, and Dominic Kubalik too.
The first half of the year, they had that playoff spot.
They did, for a while.
They lost it.
Yeah,
so if they start off strong again, they might not necessarily lose that spot that they had. True. Fourth spot.
I'm interested to see what Detroit does.
Trust the Yetzer plan.
Who?
Yezer.
Iser?
Yep.
Iserman?
Yep.
Not Yezerman?
Yezerman.
Iserman.
Yep.
A legend in our league, Iserman. Uh-huh.
I'm drunk.
Already? We took such a long break.
Didn't help.
I think Detroit might be the prime team to bump. Them or Ottawa are the prime team to bump Boston off of a playoff spot.
I have Detroit over Ottawa.
Yeah.
Ottawa's defense and goalies are suspect.
That's fair.
Their offense took a huge step forward, but
we're
going to talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about them in a second. I think Detroit has a very strong possibility of making the playoffs next year. Now, are they going to? Don't know. But I think they could bump Boston off.
100%.
Either them, Ottawa, maybe the Islanders, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Who next?
Buffalo. Buffalo's next.
Buffalo.
Since our break, they signed Tage Thompson.
They did.
To a 7-year, $7 million contract.
Yes.
Which is a little risky for 1 year of production.
Yeah. We'll see how he does this year, if that contract makes sense or not.
Now, we've seen this happen a bunch, and we've seen it work out. And with Buffalo specifically, we've seen it not work out with Skinner.
Yeah. We've seen it work out with guys like Kaprizov, who I believe at the beginning of last year, I specifically was like, that's a lot of money to give a guy who had one good year. And then he followed it up with another fantastic year. So whatever at that point. But Skinner, like you just said.
In Skinner's defense,
he did all right last year.
Got thrown on the fourth line the year after he signed that contract.
That's true.
So, there was some coaching issues. Yeah. Because it was Kruger at the time.
Yes. Kruger did a lot of damage to this team, seemingly.
A lot of damage to this team.
Jeff Skinner had a great year last year, 33 goals. $9 million, still maybe a little bit of an overpay. But
he's still getting closer to that 40-goal season.
He's still closer to what he should be.
Yes. Kyle Okposo took a step back to that $6 million contract with 45 points. It was still an overpay for a while.
It still shocks me that Kyle Okposo is in the league.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe won't be after this year.
But
hey, 21 goals.
Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power, Ilya Lyubushkin. I know Lyubushkin is very much different than Dahlin and Power in the sense of he's a more defensive defenseman, but he was very solid in both Arizona and Toronto last year.
True.
So Dahlin is getting better and better every year. He's been in the league 4 years. So it's crazy to say.
I saw somebody maybe on the hockey subreddit or something. It's like if Rasmus Dahlin was on any team that was any good at all, he would be one of the top defensemen in the league. He's just last year not really withstanding where they were much better. He's just been on a really bad team.
He also has sometimes made mistakes on that blue line, which leads to really bad rushes.
He's only 22. You gotta expect that sometimes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But that's really easy to look at and say, he sucks. Because
certainly.
He's on a bad team and making mistakes. So and doesn't get bailed out when he makes his mistakes. Craig Anderson is still in net.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So they're
41.
Goalies are the question. Craig Anderson is now the same age as his number.
Yeah, that's right.
Eric Comrie is their backup. Alex Tuck has played great since coming from that trade to Vegas. He's exactly what they need. A lot of these guys are young.
It's a very young team.
Just seem to be getting better. So if they can keep getting better, I don't necessarily think they'll make the playoffs this year.
No.
It's a possibility.
I wouldn't think so.
They were really annoying at the end of last season for everybody.
Their entire defense is under the age of 30. And only 2 players, or 2 forwards are over 30. And Craig Anderson is 41.
Yeah, Craig Anderson.
They're a very young team.
The only thing keeping their
age up.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
So they are a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
Because last season specifically, they just seem to be having a good time being out there.
Fingers crossed they take a step forward.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think that they'll challenge for a playoff spot, but
I think they will mess up other teams' playoff chances.
Probably. Yeah.
That's
just
really
like
what it comes down to.
we discussed with Anaheim, and who was the other team we talked about? Seattle might snipe games off of teams and really mess up their plans for
Buffalo
the rest of the year.
will do that.
Yeah. Well, they did that last year.
Yeah.
So they could certainly do it this year.
So yeah, I'm rooting for them. Their
Buffalo
jerseys are clean. They're bringing back the bison head.
God.
And the red black for the third jersey.
Yeah. A weird ass bison head.
Way to go, Buffalo.
Buffalo.
That was 5, right?
Yeah.
Full sentence. Cool.
Buffalo. Yeah, 5. Last step's Ottawa, yeah?
Yeah. What makes it...
I have no idea. I never understood it.
There's a dance called the buffalo. That's, I think, one of the verbs. The animal, the city. I don't know what the other 2 are.
I don't know.
All right, fine.
I just know it from you and one of our other friends saying it a bunch of times.
Cool. Next page.
Ottawa.
Since the break, they have extended Matthew Joseph.
They have
4 years, just shy of $3 million. Eric Brandstrom, 1 year, just under $1 million, and then it is Tim. I thought it was Tom for a second. Tim Stützle. 8 years, 8.3.
Yeah.
So these guys have very much locked in their core. This is what they think it's going to be. They got Chuck, Norris,
DeBrincat's still a free agent last year.
Batherson.
They locked up everyone else.
I don't have the Batherson or DeBrincat trade.
Okay.
On here.
Oops.
Did that happen?
That happened
much
before
earlier?
our break. Yeah, that happened before our break. Hold on, please, everybody. Looking up a trade.
And never mind. It
happened a while ago. Looking up a trade.
They never were.
DeBrincat got traded to Ottawa. Hold on, there it is.
For a first and a second and a third.
Number 7 overall, number 39 overall in this past draft, and a third next year. Well, 2 years from now, actually.
Could be so much more.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are pretty set offensively.
Yeah.
They've made a huge step forward.
They're looking good, yeah.
It is their defense and their goalies because they got Cam Talbot and Anton Forsberg in goal. Both have been solid 1Bs.
Yeah.
So who's going to be that 1A?
I don't think either one of them. I don't trust their goalies.
And then you got Shabbat, Hamonic, Brandstrom, Zub, Holden, and Zaitsev as their defense.
Yeah, their defense isn't scary either, really.
Their offense are going to score a bunch of goals.
Yeah, their forward group looks fantastic. Their defense and goaltending doesn't look super
down
great.
the line.
Well, if Brandstrom and Zub can take steps forward, excuse me, that defense can certainly look better.
Yeah, but I don't trust that they're going to the playoffs based on their defense and their goalies alone.
No,
they can
it's
push.
Possible.
They can
it's
push
possible.
Boston for their spot.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't really trust it either.
Out of the three teams of Detroit, Ottawa, and Buffalo that have made that push forward to challenge Boston, Detroit seems like the best team out of those three.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
Overall.
I just think Detroit has more veteran presence on their team. Ottawa, much like Buffalo, is a very young team.
Talbot
they have Claude Giroux and
Nick Holden.
Oh, just like Buffalo, they have two forwards over 30 in Giroux and
Watson.
Austin Watson. On defense, they have more older guys on defense in Hamonic, Nick Holden, and Nikita Zaitsev. I didn't realize Nick Holden was that old.
Right? I didn't
And then their goaltenders are a little on the older side. But their forward group is certainly very young.
Mm-hmm. They sent Connor Brown out.
They did.
To
Washington, I believe. Yeah.
So it's very... Well, they still need to sign Formenton.
Oh, yes, he is not under contract yet.
But other than that, everyone seems pretty much locked up.
Yeah.
And
you would think they would be working on an extension for DeBrincat.
Before anything.
But maybe they're trying to get Formenton done before that.
Yeah.
Just because,
to see what they...
he doesn't have a contract, They could be certainly a very formidable team moving forward.
Very annoying.
Yeah.
If your defense isn't good, they will punish you.
Yeah, I don't think... Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know that they challenge for a playoff spot just yet, but they'll certainly be annoying and snipe off wins off of other teams, much like Buffalo will. But
it's going to be a tight race in the...
It'll be interesting.
Atlantic, other than Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal's not going to be good, but everyone else, it should at least be close-ish.
I'm just hoping, that Buffalo doesn't end up in the basement again. Because again, there's so much hope.
Yeah, there's so much positive, I feel like, going on in Buffalo right now.
Ever since
Kruger left.
Kruger and I believe some of the front office changed and Eichel left.
Yeah.
We'll say Eichel leaving.
Eichel was the problem.
He was the only problem.
He was the only problem. Clearly, you guys.
Clearly.
But yeah. Well, we will see you in the next and final episode of our previews when we do the Metro Division. But you can catch us on everywhere that podcasts are found and our YouTube channel. That's just BuzzPucks. I think it's BuzzPucks Podcast. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Tell your friends and family about us.
How you feeling, bud?
I'm very low energy right now. Yeah. But we will see you guys in the next episode at the same puck time.
You have to make a correction at the same puck place.
Apparently fucking Jack Johnson and Eric Johnson aren't brothers? What the fuck? Anyway, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.